As women out there.
We're all entitled to our opinions.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You guys have a good...
I appreciate it. All right. In the beginning, he was owning him because he was like dominating the conversation in areas that he was dominating the conversation in areas that that Steven Crowder actually was not able to fucking respond to. But the moment that you like concede or you give ground to Steven and you let him fucking ask like silly ass, dumbass fucking questions, and force you into like weird hypotheticals, like it's gonna come across like he's winning the argument, because debates are again for perverts and for freaks, and ultimately inconsequential or ultimately unproductive, unless you are brutally owning your opponent on the marketplace of ideas. But it was pretty decent overall. Okay. Let us watch Tricking My Way into New York City's Billionaire Penthouses, Fakes, Frauds, and Scammers.
Really know who you're dealing with. She could have been an actual billionaire. She could have been a scam artist, and I would never know the difference.
This project is kind of like a Robin Hood project. I pretended to be a billionaire so I can get into the most exclusive apartments in New York.
We're not just selling a building. The reason why people are living here is because of the lifestyle that we're offering.
85 million, 10 million.
New York City is the #1 city on the planet for the most amount of billionaires. I believe there's like 78 of them or something living in New York City. A fun fact, I guess, if you didn't know. I think it's like Beijing is another one. But yeah, New York City has like been #1 for many, many years, according to Forbes.
16 million.
These people are the 1% of the 1%.
I think it's really obscene that like these buildings exist.
You're made with me getting ready with dinner.
Chapo Trap House too? Did Chapo Trap House talk about that? I have not listened to their latest episode. I don't know if they talked about it. I saw it on a TikTok. Forbes did I saw it on Forbes TikTok where they look at like the top cities with billionaires. Hong Kong is one, Shenzhen is another, Shanghai is another. I think not Shanghai, Beijing is another. It's just but no, it's not Dallas. I want to be a powerful billionaire. I'm willing to do anything to get there. What? Chalk Trap House, lame as fuck. I love when people are like fans of mine but don't like Chapo Trap House. It's like so weird. Okay, let's get here.
While you're just having one of the finest champagnes in a soaking
London
tub
is another one. London is a big billionaire city as well.
with your husband. Imagine waking up every morning to these views. Gabriella.
Moscow is another one as well. Moscow is another big billionaire city. They lost a lot of billionaires, however, because of the gruesome sanctions.
I really
Craig Hack.
see you
Thank you for the
living
5 get the
here.
subs.
The cheapest property I've been to was 10 million.
Disgusting.
And the most
Ew. No billionaire would be dead. Would be caught dead, seen in a fucking property that's only $10 million. That's disgusting.
expensive was 85 million. They manipulate the cities to the disadvantage of everyone else in the cities. My name is Andy Schmid, and in 2016, I spent 3 months in New York at an artist residency program. Basically, this whole idea started with the biggest cliche that I went up to the Empire State Building and I saw the views, and I basically realized that there are lots of buildings that are as tall or even taller than the Empire State Building. And I just basically was really curious about what the view from those buildings look like. That's when I started to work on my book and my project. I chose 25 buildings, high, ultra luxury towers.
93 stories above the city, this is what $81 million gets you. A full penthouse, 8,400 square feet, with floor-to-ceiling views of a metropolis.
My goal was really to show those views that are considered to be the best views you can privately own in New York. First, I really just wanted to photograph the views for the book. As I was going deeper and deeper in this world, it became more and more obvious that it's like something totally bizarre and crazy. I was like laying in bed and really I was just thinking, how could I get in those buildings? I remember I told about the project to the curator who was working at the residency, and she told me, no way they would ever let you in without a credit check. The only way for that is to pretend to be a billionaire who is searching for an apartment. From the moment on that I started to work on the project, this was pretty much the only thing I could think about. Write it down, check the address, go home, check if there's any real estate available, call the agency, and usually next day go and see it and take a picture of the view. And so really for 3 months.
Okay, but you're paying $81 million to live next to like Les Wexner. Is it worth it? No, and also a lot of the fucking conditions that they dude, after a certain point, it's diminishing returns 100%. I mean, there's also studies on the matter too. Like after a certain point of wealth, there are diminishing returns when it comes to happiness, and there are certainly diminishing returns. This is one of those fucking instances where like you quite literally are like there's only so much money can buy, okay? You're living on a fucking psychotic penthouse at that point, where the building is like wobbly as shit, you know what I mean? You're just it's more so just a flex at that point. And most of those people don't even live there. They just like the high-rise 432 Park comes to mind when you think about that. Like the downside of life in the super tall tower, leaks, creaks, and breaks. It's kind of dog shit to live in a situation like that, and you're paying like $100 million or whatever the fuck to be in that situation. I don't know. I think it's ridiculous.
Months I was living,
and most of these people don't even live there full time. They just have it and they sit on it because it's another way to shelter. It's another way to own a depreciating asset that could potentially appreciate in value that you can use as a way to offset your taxes. Yada yada yada. There are a lot of advantages that the government offers to people who own and hold real estate.
Force on the A line from Brooklyn to Manhattan.
My name is Daniel Rosenstein. I've worked in real estate for 4 years. I met Andy 2 years ago when she was infiltrating New York's most exclusive properties. I was doing Airbnb in my apartment in the Upper West Side.
And first I remember that he asked me, what are you doing in New York? And when he said he's a real estate agent, I was actually a bit hesitant to tell him what I came here for.
She told me that she was making a book. So I think at first I was like, oh, is she mocking our profession? I'm just a pawn in your project here. And then the more she was talking about it, the more I saw her point of view, which is almost nobody has access to these apartments. You have to go through a doorman, you have to reach out to a real estate agent. It's not a normal real estate market where you can show up to an open house. She asked a few questions, I think how to navigate getting into buildings. I told her to use the term, we're looking for a pied-à-terre or second home in the city. A lot of really wealthy people look for second, third, fourth, fifth homes, and she at that point had essentially created her whole persona.
Gabriella is my actual middle.
I'm not gonna lie, I wish they just like instead of focusing on like the events that took place and like what she did to be able to infiltrate these circles, I would have just liked to seen the houses and her just shitting on it. I didn't realize that this video was just like about her and how she like was able to do this. You know what I mean? Like, come on, show us the houses, dude.
Because
come on.
At the beginning I didn't know if they would check my passport ever. And actually at some of the properties, they did check it. And I remember back then I got really obsessed by many of these small details, that I need to do my nails and I need to have proper shoes, proper bag. In order to do this project, I needed to bring my camera and photograph the view. This made me obviously very unusual in the eyes of the agents, but I also realized that the stranger I act, the more convincing it is that I'm actually a billionaire and I just don't give a shit. I was really, really nervous at this very first viewing. The agent started to ask me if I have a chef, if I have a nanny, if we have private chauffeur. So I just randomly answered yes and no. And all of these answers kind of became part of what Gabriella was.
Tell your husband every morning that this is really where you want to be.
There are a few
Like chaotic good inventing Anna. You know what I mean? Like she did the same shit, but instead of like scamming people, she basically like, I guess, did it so that she could like get her way into these billionaire penthouses and like expose them. But I want to
different
see
types of agents. There are the ones who are kind of like very natural and just showing you, here is the kitchen, here is the bathroom, this is the price. And there is the complete other end of the spectrum.
You will feel, Gabriella, it is like going on a journey from the sidewalks of 19th century old New York to the sidewalks of Florence.
I actually might
I want that. This is what I want. I want like
So
fucking.
imagine your daughter running around saying words in Hungarian.
It was really hard to kind of like keep a straight face in those viewings. I mean, it was like really bizarre what they were telling me.
I want that.
Gabriella, it really is a moment for you. Just tell your husband he loves you and he wants you to be happy. I'm sure he will not say no to you if you let him know this is really your first choice.
Okay, I want that. I want that. I want more of that.
This ultra luxury segment
Give me
of
more.
real estate is actually
More of
now
that.
Not really going that well. The newer the development, the crazier the amenities they have, because there's really this like huge competition.
Also, why the fuck? I mean, I guess she's Hungarian. Is that why? Because why the fuck is that? I'm imagining she's not even Hungarian, right? And he's just saying that randomly. Like that's the language that you should learn. Your child should learn as the fucking fail son or daughter of a billionaire. Just randomly.
One of the things that became an absolute standard for these buildings is the golf simulator room. Michelin-starred private restaurant in the building, theater, swimming pool, obviously.
Equinox gym, they have children's playroom, a billiards room, a conference room, and everything in between.
In one of the penthouses, it was that they would give you a yacht as a present when you buy the apartment.
What?
A yacht.
A yacht. Yo, that is fucking what? That's what the fuck? Bro, what is happening, dude? How is that a thing, dude? What the fuck? They're just like, hey, dude, here, you want this fucking thing that you're never gonna live inside of? Here, let's give you a depreciating asset the moment that it fucking from the moment of purchase. That's just literally a money sink. It has a yacht has no value outside of just being a fucking money sink. Okay. It's the dumbest thing that you can buy. It's just straight up something you buy when you have too much fucking money. That's it. Pusha T, yacht pronunciation. Yachts are bad because of depreciating asset for no other reason. No, but like there is literally no other, there is nothing. Like there is no utility. It's just like a fucking thing that you're purchasing that immediately it's like halving in value the moment that you purchase it. It's like a house on a sea that you're never going to be inside of that costs a fuckload more than a house to even upkeep. And that also on top of that is halved the moment that you fucking purchase it. It's useless. Like some cars, lol, is a great example, except like, you know, you still drive a fucking car on your day to day. You know what I mean? It's not as costly in maintenance as a yacht is. And there is straight up no fucking utility at all for it. Like no utility at all for it. And the only reason why these motherfuckers are buying is because like they just have enough money to buy it. They're like, yeah, fuck it, YOLO. Like I have enough money. Yachts are incredibly destructive to the environment, but their manufacture and use, that too. Yeah, a car doesn't also require a crew to drive it either. Obviously, there is that part of that as well that, plays a role there. Speaking of yachts, let me just point this out real quick. The newly created disinformation board should review this tweet, or maybe they need to form a new non sequitur board instead. Raising corporate taxes is fine to discuss. Taming inflation is critical to discuss. Mushing them together is just misdirection. That's what, one of the world's wealthiest fucking billionaires had to say about Joe Biden saying, you want to bring down inflation? Let's make sure the wealthiest corporations pay their fair share. Joe Biden, hate to say this, is correct in that assessment, by the way. That is one way to combat inflation. So Jeffrey Jebediah Bezos over here being like, that has nothing to do with inflation is just being a fucking little freak here. Sorry, shouts out to my boss being an actual fucking demon once again. And then speaking of yachts, Rob says, is this your boat, Jeff? And to that, my answer is yes, that is actually his boat. That is Jeffrey Jebediah Bezos' boat. Straight the fuck up. Is the billionaire equivalent of homes that can come with Teslas? Is like a tiny signing bonus in comparison to the price of the real estate. It's fucking ridiculous, dude. Absolutely ridiculous. Got a GoFundMe to buy you a yacht just to annoy the right wingers? No, because that's really fucking annoying. And there's a infinitely better use for everyone else's money in that situation than that. Okay. And it won't just fucking annoy the right wingers. It will also annoy everyone in my community as well, understandably. Like, I don't want that. I never leave my house. I already bought a fucking car that is expensive. And regardless of not ever leaving my house, I already bought a car that's expensive. And I barely ever drive it. And people fucking yell at me. Unironically, people will like you more if you did that. Bezos is scared of regular people having another reason to support higher taxes on them. Yeah. Yucked. Even though I have no problem with my car purchase. It was awesome, and I feel great about it. And you know, it makes me feel happy. It has it's like one of those things where it is one of those things where it's like it makes my daily drive, which is already like not a lot, way more pleasurable. So I'm very happy with it. How often do you charge it? Like once a week, because that's how little I drive.
So you mentioned the number of people who are actually living in poverty, according to the federal poverty numbers. But we all know, living in New York, it's a whole different ballgame.
The average rent across the city has returned to nearly pre-pandemic levels.
Hey, I work at a gas station in Texas. I was removing a Biden sticker the other day from the gas pump, and a lady drove by and said, hey, you know it's vandalism to remove those stickers from pumps and seem serious. What's your thoughts on that? All I'm going to say to you, my friend, is, you know, just have fun with it, okay? Just have fun with those people. I don't know what to tell you. I hope your days are fun, at the very least. It's little things like that probably make your job a little bit more entertaining to you. So just try to have fun with it.
We built fewer homes in the 2010s than in any decade going back to the 1960s.
I think the way poverty is usually portrayed is from the bottom. So you talk about homelessness, or you talk about people who cannot afford housing. I think when you see it from this like very top of the sphere, it somehow is also very telling. The buildings that you can see from every single corner of the city are these ultra luxury real estate, which are not accessible for anyone really. Apartments and buildings are standing 60 to 70% empty.
Commercial and residential wonderland featuring some of the city's tallest buildings and most expensive restaurants and condos.
If you are looking to call Steinway.
Elysium is literally just real life. This is why it's one of my favorite movies, and one of Zizek's favorite movies as well, is that it's pure ideology, but it's also something that is happening in the real world. Like, you literally see it. This is in the real world. There is a real world example of Elysium. It's Manhattan.
Tower home. Studios start at $7.7 million.
Listen, you know, not to be not sympathetic to the homeless, but if you live in 157, you're paying
Not to not be sympathetic to the homeless. Lady, you're on some like fucking local TV, the business channel. Everything you're saying is going to be not sympathetic to the homeless. You don't even need to qualify it. Like, half of the fucking arguments revolving around this is probably going to be like melting them into biomatter.
millions of dollars to live there. Do you want a homeless shelter in your building? I don't think so.
Yes! Not to not be sympathetic to the homeless, but like, can we just melt them if they have no practical utility in commodity production?
We are not building enough housing for everybody who needs a place to live.
Here's what it's like living in the smallest apartment in New York. Wherever your expectations are, lower them.
So these buildings are kind of really soulless in a sense. They are super standardized.
The trends that I see in these properties are a lot of the same finishes and materials used. Some of the floor plans are the exact same. I think it's a really challenging task to create something different when you're working with essentially the same floor plan, which is a tall square or a rectangle in the sky.
Oh wow, who was the interior designer?
Deborah Burke. There is no one better.
Deborah Burke. Why this dude sound like a vampire, dude? What the fuck? Dude, we gotta watch more of these. I used to love watching like fucking a billionaire house real estate agents talk about this shit. Deborah Burke. She is the #1 designer. Oh, dude, that's awesome, dude. Yeah. She loves marble, as you can see.
In design at the moment.
So you have always just some very special type of marble in the apartment that the agents would always have.
For the record, like, I will point this out once again. I will never become a billionaire, okay? You have my promise. This is something that Linus tweeted out the other day as well. I will never become a billionaire, okay? Don't worry. It's not happening. My BK place isn't much bigger than my jail cell, but probably cost as much as your house. Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Highlight.
The marble is Siberian, which is now the best on the market.
Then you would have the oak floor, which is always the best type of oak floor. And there's like really nothing that would make any.
Even if you wanted, you wouldn't though. I mean, yeah, it's a profoundly difficult thing regardless. But more importantly, the amount of fucking suffering you need to cause the others in your effort to become one. Like, there are some labor billionaires at this point because, you know, that's where we're at with inflation and whatnot. But like, it is so incredibly rare that, you know, it's not the norm at all. It's like 4 or 5 in comparison to the entirety of the billionaire class that have gotten there through, you know, trading and capital accumulation for the most part, and also hiring and exploiting people. Anne, order ettim senin yemeğini. 20 dakika falan. I don't know. Ben söylemedim. Oh, did I see this earlier? Yes, I did. I was going to actually post this, but then I thought, like, you know, people would get mad at me, so I didn't. But yeah, here is Chris Bosh talking to Lori Lightfoot. Dude, she's so funny. I'm sorry. I'm not going to say anything further. That's just like a wonderful photo, okay? I appreciate that photo.
Many of these buildings stand out, to be honest. But it's not really surprising when you realize that it's solely a form of investment.
Yeah.
Most of the cases. So
Millionaires should not exist either. I agree. You're right, dude. You're right. I think starting with me though, you should come and kill me, I think. That's what I think that will create socialism. If you come and like murder me, I think you will be able to achieve socialism straight up. 100%. That's how this works. Praxis, sweaty. Your haters are already on it? Yeah, I know. Millions isn't an insane amount for a person to accumulate. I mean, the average middle class person through their lifetime is going to most likely hit that number a lot of people still don't, because the average means that there are plenty of people who still won't be able to. It is a far more achievable and far more realistic number that you can achieve. After all, I have achieved it. And I'm a fucking dumbass. But I understand the conversation that people have around like being able to accumulate $1 million and how much wealth when so much wealth disparity exists on the planet. All at that chatter, I've accumulated 400 in savings and I work in software engineering. Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. The point isn't how much money is accumulated. The issue is how wealth is accumulated. Exactly. Ding, 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 ding. When you die, you drop an item. When consumed, establishes socialism like an Elden Ring boss. Yeah, literally. Hasanabi should donate all of his money above $999 per year to his viewers. Thoughts? Wait. I don't know if you know this, but I have a secret for you. The way that I make money is the reverse of that. Maybe you are unaware of this. But you've been contributing to the fund for 6 months at least. Give it back! I feel like you took the worst possible interpretation of the chatter's comment. I don't know. No, I think that a lot of people... I think people unironically feel like that is like... There are definitely some people on the internet who literally feel like I am the same as Jeff Bezos or some shit. That is what people think is the same way that I am generating my wealth. But not only that, but also they will literally try to make the argument that like I am exploiting the Amazon workers that work in facilities because of being a Twitch streamer whose still labor is extracted, whose profits are extracted from him. Albeit it still doesn't matter because like I still make a fuckload, but that's not what that chatter said though, and you interpreted as that. What the chatter that said I think no one should be a millionaire either? What are you talking about? So people who succeed by their own means should be allowed to have their wealth? I'm confused. This is a vague concept if you bring it up like that. That doesn't mean people should not pay back into the main fund, especially when they're incredibly fortunate. That's ridiculous. The difference between $1 billion and $1 million is roughly $1 billion. Exactly. Yeah, that's an incredibly vague argument that literally turns around and makes it seem like, oh, well, you know, you made it on your own means, like you shouldn't pay taxes then. Like that's fucking bullshit. It's sad that middle class people are scared to lose their money if they would care about the lower class. Okay. Having 20,000 options contracts in a tech company or owning rights to ownership of lithium mine in the global south is the same as talking to 25K babies every day and not gaming. Yep. You are endlessly closer in wealth to chatters and homeless people than Jeffrey Bezos? Yeah, of course. $1 million is different than $500 million. Both are millionaires, not the same. So this kind of shouldn't exist. Look, I don't have a problem living in a fucking planet where wealth inequality has been solved. That's awesome. Okay? Wealth inequality has been solved to a degree where like even a millionaire doesn't exist. Great. Okay? If you have, that would mean that you have achieved the final goal. It's like the closest you can get to living in a classless, moneyless, stateless, borderless society. I don't have an issue with that at all. I think that is wonderful. I think that that is the future that we should move towards. In the process of moving towards that future, I myself, as a revisionist cuck, believe that there are certain steps that we need to take in the short term, building labor power specifically so that there is some kind of mechanism of retaliation towards our federal government that refuses to do what is right by workers is the first step, in my opinion. Okay? I'm a revisionist, reformist cuck, ultimately. All right? I've been milking this disgusting pig billionaire himbo. I've been tuning into this broadcast relentlessly and have yet to pay zero amounts of money. The revolution is here, folks. The only thing you have to endure is the top of the hour ad break that is coming right now. That's true. That is true. I make it as easy as possible for you to access this content. But even if even if you still want to subscribe, you can. And one of the many benefits of that is avoiding the top of the hour ad break. Top of the hour, there's a 6-second ad break. You can avoid it for $5, or you can avoid it for free with a Twitch Prime. That is, of course, if you know someone that has an Amazon Prime account, or if you have one, you can connect it to your Twitch account and get one free Prime subscription on me, your favorite streamer. Here's a 1-minute ad break now. Having labor power is fine, but how do we confront the fact that excess value is still being extracted from workers as a form of profit? Well, how do you fucking try to deal with that? How do you try to push back against that? Also, having more labor power is quite literally it's quite literally pushing back against the impact of excess value being extracted from workers as a form of profit. That's how it works. When the NLRB says, unions or unionization improves your yearly salary, increases your yearly salary by 10%, that's what they mean. That's 10% that was taken from the profits that company was making. That eats into the profit margin of the corporation and takes that tidy little sum and gives it back to you, the worker who actually generated that profit through their labor. It's the solution. In a weird way, you basically described the method to achieving the solution. I think this was the guy, right? Wasn't this the guy who said like the billionaire? Remember that buildings are bought with blood money? That's true. What are some of the policies that should be enacted to end or lessen exploitation? Are you memeing or are you actually interested in playing Stanley Parable? I am interested in it. What, shouldn't the company get a cut for creating a job that has value in the first place? What do you mean? There's no such thing. Like, there is no value without labor. A company is not creating a job specifically for the purpose of like, a company does not create a job specifically for the purpose of I don't know, charity or something. Like, that's not a real thing. Not to get too much into theory, but we are currently now engaging in, this is theory hours, like fuck it YOLO, but there is no such thing as there's no such thing as like a profit or value without labor. There is no value without labor. You just simply have a bunch of things, maybe tools or your capital investment sitting there, rotting, depreciating. Sorry for my silly questions. I'm just a 1-week sub who just got into watching your stream. Okay. Wrong. I'm a labor owner for the altruism. Don't gaslight me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no person fucking starts a business for the express purpose of like charity. Most businesses don't start with that. Crypto literally proves there's no value without labor. How wildly it's speculative with its value dips. Game with Will Neff, potentially. I'm gonna add it one more time because I firmly believe it's comical. Okay, let's finish this.
It's really not about living, and it's not about having a soul, and it shows. It's really obvious when you are there. One of the most striking things was how agents are trying to always go out of their way to tell me that no one else lives in this building.
What salary should CEOs deserve in your opinion? Do they create any value? No. I don't think CEOs create value. A company can function, and often, always actually, still functions without a CEO, but a company cannot function without any labor. If we're talking about value, no. The CEO can the CEO can manage the workers better or push the company in a certain direction, and that's seen as incredibly valuable because it's a super rare designation for people, but they're not like in the fucking. The CEO is not like the best chair builder, you know what I mean? Like in the chair factory, we didn't choose the CEO because he's literally like goated at building the chairs. He's like fucking putting the chairs together way faster than anybody else. What is the value of what is the value for the person that came up with the idea? So this is a conversation that a lot of people ask, like, oh, well, what if, you fucking came up with an idea? Dude, what you're describing, again, is insanely rare. Like, you're talking about even all of the fucking billionaire CEOs that we hold up as like, titans of industry or whatever, are not exactly people that were able to fucking come up with like a unique idea on their own or anything like that. You're crazy. That's not a real thing. That's just a capitalist lie that is told to justify that extraction of surplus value from your labor. Like, there's no such concept. Like, these guys weren't incredibly good at fucking doing something much better than anyone else. They were just good at hiring the right people, or they were good at making it seem like they were the one who came up with a good idea. You know what I mean? People love the concept of democracy until you commit the sin of suggesting it in the workplace. Yeah. And I mean, this doesn't mean that like all fucking companies need to be cooperative ownership. All companies do not have to be cooperatively owned, okay? That's not even what I'm saying. Just like socialism doesn't mean fucking pure egalitarian equality, that like everyone is making the same amount of money no matter what happens, no matter what your fucking job is. It's just getting more autonomy and getting more power, so you can make decisions in your own life and choose to live a life of dignity and fulfillment. Well, tell a holiday retail worker the CEO is important to their workday. Yeah. Why do you act like team building and managing isn't a skill? No, team building and managing is a skill. Why do you act like CEOs are team building and managing? And then there are some that might be, but for the most part, no. You're crazy. I mean, I've talked about this before. The only difference between billionaires that are functionally like demigods and the prior the organization of both the economy and like the social political existence in theocratic monarchies was the justification. Justification in theocratic monarchies was God is the reason why the king, my lord, in my kingdom is run by the chosen one. The chosen one is a descendant of heaven, right? In a theocratic monarchy, the chosen one under capitalism is chosen because of probability, because of luck, because of their underlying material circumstances merged with luck and doing the right thing, again, out of luck, doing the right thing in the right moment, deciding to acquire the appropriate skills, luck and timing, your spawn point. These are all incredibly important. These are all incredibly important things that play a role in your success. And if you're profoundly lucky, you can become, a demigod, like a billionaire. But now, instead of God, because, people, you can't float that. You can't be like, oh, God is the reason why I'm a fucking billionaire. You say meritocracy. Meritocracy is the lie that holds this entire thing together. That, like, merit is the reason why a billionaire is as wealthy, is as profoundly wealthy and as powerful as they are. Because this is a meritocratic system where the hardest worker gets the most out of their labor, we have created and designed a system where it makes people feel like billionaires are the hardest working motherfuckers, when that is not the case. That could not be further from the truth. I mean, it was luck and material conditions in feudal times as well. Nothing has changed. Yes, I'm just talking about the justification for it. Of course, it's always been luck and material conditions in feudal times. But in feudal times, it was God, it was religion that maintained the social order. It was because God had willed it. And now, in modern day, it's meritocracy. Meritocracy is the reason why you deserve to be in the position that you're in. And you can feel that exact same thing in your lucky condition as well by matching yourself against other people that are less fortunate than you. Doesn't Elon work the most hours a week? Dog, what are you talking about? Does he work more hours in the week than there are hours in the week then? Because you're crazy if you think that. The amount of money that Elon Musk generates has absolutely nothing to do with how many hours that he's working. He would have to work like literally thousands and thousands of hours a day in order to generate that kind of value, that generate that kind of income.
That I'm not going to have any neighbors.
A lot of these billionaire road towers are investments for overseas and local people, so they'll rent them out or they'll just own them, have them sit empty for a number of years.
Extremely high streamer pay, CEO pay, etc. are all known as winner-takes-all markets and are also problematic. It's not just from labor that makes earning money okay. We should end private ownership, but also labor inequality is a major issue. Yes, if you think that like achieving labor equality starts with Twitch streaming, though, you're fucking brain broken, literally. Like you equate Twitch streaming, which is oftentimes like a singular endeavor for the most part, to literally what CEOs do, which is sit around and manage other people. Oh my fucking God, dude. Why are Twitch watchers so fucking insanely brain broken and try to apply rigorous materialist analysis directly to what is in front of them? That is the solution, and then fail to do so appropriately. No one chose that. No one was like, that's the motherfucker that is chosen by the board to be the main fucking streamer here, okay? You all individually chose to come in here and chose to give me $5 $5 a month. If you want to, you can still get it without giving me $5 a month. That kind of wealth accumulation is entirely separate than who is the best at exploiting the largest group of employees, because that's what a CEO does. In order to literally generate the most or maximize profit margins, the CEO's sole purpose is to milk their employees. It is luck, though. Luck is profoundly significant in streaming and in everything else, in every other circumstance as well. It's luck. CEOs have a small amount of utility, but it is in a macro sense. They do very little and are more or less paid to think about aligning practice to organizational values as the company takes off. It's important to have people guide you at work, but they pay to earn is problematic. I mean, it's also... Price. Hold on, I'm getting like breaking. They're a live... a shooting happened earlier today in Buffalo, New York, okay? And the person live streamed it on Twitch apparently. You know, I'm getting more details on the matter at this point, but I don't know what the current details are, but that's what's fucking going on at the moment, okay? People have been in the chat typing and trying to type, but failing to type because we already immediately put it on Fossabot, and it's like an auto banned term. But it's also America, where like when things like that fucking happen, you know, people don't even know about it. Here, look. Shush, sweep it under the rug. Look at the video of celebrities. Wait, what? I mean, anne geldi yemek. Bana verir misin benimkini? Elon works so much a week. My king works so much harder than us peasants. They have an entire kingdom to run. Exactly. The FBI is not involved at all. No, it just seems like. No, it literally just fucking seems like at least 10 are dead in a supermarket. Here, I'll just give you what the available details are currently. At least 10 are dead in a mass shooting at the Buffalo supermarket. There's a manifesto, I know.